This could be the real deal, boys. Let's do it.
Welcome to a special edition of the Reggie and Jerome podcast. I'm your co-host, Big D. To my left, as always, Sammy C.
You.
To my right, as always, Big J.A.
Yo, what's up?
Got a special guest today. Somebody who's near and dear to me and a lot of people out there. I don't even know where to begin. This guy has been so much to so many people, in particular, our family. Super Bowl champion, recently inducted in the main all-century team. Is that correct?
Yeah, quarter all-century.
Quarter all-century team. Without further ado, it's been a long time coming.
Facts.
My guy, Jamil Demby. What's up, nephew? How you doing,
good?
Baby?
Man, I'm honored to be on the show, man.
Thank you.
I'm honored to be on the pod. I'm honored to be here with you guys.
Hey.
And I'm honored to be where, it truly bleeds green. So,
no doubt. You know that's for sure. And we will definitely get into that. But before we start, I did want to mention that you are home this week for a special reason. Could you tell the people why you are home this week?
Yes, sir. So this Friday, we actually have the 6th annual Jamil Demby Free Youth Football Camp this Friday. 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. Registration 4:30 to 5:30. So if y'all want to pop out, it's free $99. So come out. It's ages 5 through 14. We got cheerleader coaches out there as well. So if you want to pull up, but it's for the community. Everybody can pop out. So it's going to be a great special night.
Please do. I've been to every one of these and I've been a part of every one of these. And it is so good that not only that you give back, but the community come out.
Facts.
Because it's not often that this happens. So when it does, take advantage of it. And don't complain about it if you don't come out. And that's one of the things that I always have an issue with. Oh, there's nothing to do. But then when there's something to do, you don't come out.
Exactly.
So, so that is this Friday. I will be out there. I'm going to try to get my co-host out there for a few minutes to see if they can swing by. But, that is the reason why my man is home.
Yeah.
You will be where kind of like your journey started.
Yeah.
Right? Your football journey started.
100%.
When did the quote-unquote dream start for you?
So honestly, it started when I got into football. I was playing flag football at the YMCA. And after a while, of course, I always wanted to be the quarterback. I always wanted to throw the ball. All skill positions were being glorified in flag football. There wasn't really anybody getting coaches to be an offensive lineman, a D lineman, any of those things. So there was no physicality. And eventually I told my dad, I said, you know what? I want to play tackle football. And that brought us over to Violent Midget Football League. And I remember when I walked in there, the coaches was like, yo, he going to be on my team. Oh, wait, how old are you? Nah, you know what? You too big. Actually, let's get you up. So eventually I started out on the Wolf Pack. And that was when I was 7 years old. And I didn't know what I was getting myself into, honestly, because flag football practices weren't as intense. And I remember I put those pads on and we had to run laps and do all of those different things. And I was like, man, it's hard.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if this is for me. But once that season started and I played offensive line and I was able to start doing what I wanted to do or try out. And that was be physical, hit people. And then seeing my teammates score and being a part of that and the camaraderie of the sport, I was like, man, I think I actually really like this. And that's kind of where it started, where it originated. Okay, football is my thing.
Yeah, because there's a huge difference between YMC Flag and the Wolfpack.
Yeah. 100%.
I think at that time, was it weight limit at the time?
When I was, no, it was age.
It was age at the time, right?
So I was 6 by the turn 7.
Oh my God, you must have been.
Yeah, so they was like, Bandits. We had went in there before June 20th is my birthday. They were like, "Oh, you gonna be on the Bandits?" And then my dad was like, "Nah, he's actually about to turn 7." And it was so funny. And I was like, literally, y'all know I'm mad lazy. Like, y'all gonna have to really coach me up. Y'all gonna have to mold me. Like, but yeah, no, it was a huge difference. And I learned quickly. I put that helmet on, them shoulder pads in the summer. I was like, yo, they had us doing up downs, chopping your knees, and just falling to the ground. I was like, dang, I don't know if this is me. But yeah, it was definitely where it all started for me, for sure.
Well, it soon came to be you after a little bit of time.
Yeah.
That is for sure. Now, I think the timeline might be a little hazy, but I kind of sort of remember going to Lehigh to an Eagles camp.
Yep.
Tell that story about going to Lehigh to Eagles camp.
Yeah, nah, it's actually crazy because we went with you, my dad, we brought Miles, Noah, we had the whole crew, my brother, and that was when it was like, when I remember going there, I was like, ooh, I want to show off. I want to show that I'm good at something. And usually these camps, it was a lot of like, you getting to throw the ball, catch the ball, knowing I was too big to be doing any of that. Like, I was told I was going to be on the offensive line, defensive line because of my size. But when we went to these camps, I was able to just like catch the ball and kind of experience what it's like to score and get some glory, you know? So when we went to that camp, it was dope seeing, even though it was like, I was expecting to see Donovan McNabb and all, but when we got there, it was like Kevin Kolb. And like, dude, after Kevin Kolb was like talking, he was pouring his heart out. Like, well, I remember one of the kids was like, how much money do you make? And he's like, bro, he's there chilling. And he's there chilling. He has like thong chanclas on or sandals on. I'm like, oh, this is like a regular guy. And the kids asked him like, how much you make? He's like, yeah, you could just find that online. I was like, bro. But nah, it was crazy because I'm like, man, this is like, I just felt close to something that I was doing because football every year it began to become a bigger and bigger passion for me. So us going there, y'all taking us there, like it allowed me to experience like, oh, this is like, we're here. Like this is achievable. It's not like something we can't touch or we see on the screen. Like we're able to see players and do drills that, you know, they're coaching and stuff. So it was awesome experience for sure.
Yeah, I remember that vividly because I remember the guy that I was talking to who got the passes to go and whatever like that.
Yeah.
I remember telling him, I was like, because he had seen Miles.
Yeah.
And you remember back then Miles was
taller than all of us.
105 pounds, but he was tall.
Yeah, he was massive.
Hey, so I was like, well, I got another kid who's not quite Miles. So I don't think he's going to be running routes or anything like that. But as I do remember, I remember you getting the ball a few times and jumping over the pile onto that little
yeah.
Yo, you was so happy.
Yo, that was my thing, man. Like I really swore I was about to be Brian Westbrook, bro. Like that's who I wanted to be. Like it was like, nah.
Crazy. But yeah, that's kind of where it started from. And it quickly moved from there to high school.
Yeah.
The violin fighting clan.
I know. Nah.
So that's these guys' alma mater. Had
Friday Night Lights.
And you know, a lot of times we was, unfortunately, when I was there, we was losing more.
Long nights.
Yeah, it was some long nights. We was losing more than we was winning.
So I'm trying to think. I mean, I went to a lot of those games, and I didn't see a lot of victories.
No, facts.
At all. A question I always wanted to ask you was, I mean, I know this about you because I know you're loyal, but I'm sure you had the opportunity to bounce quite a few times.
Yeah.
From the violent fighting clan.
I did. No.
And you didn't.
Yeah.
Why?
Yo, nah, you don't know how many times. I remember after my sophomore year, I believe. It might have been after my freshman or my sophomore year. I either played against the prep my freshman year, or it was after my sophomore year. And freshman year, I played freshman for a little bit, moved up to JV, and then my sophomore year is when I started playing varsity. So I remember somebody started talking to my dad at a game, and they were like, basically, I don't know, suggestion, try out the prep. I don't know if they was recruiting for him. I don't want to get nobody in trouble, but they basically was kind of recruiting. And
they were recruiting.
Yeah. We and I remember we went on a visit, and it kind of felt good to be like, oh, like I'm wanted at somewhere where everybody would talk about was more prestigious than Violent at the time. And like I could go there and actually get an opportunity to go to college. And, because the talk was like, we just weren't so well that it's like, you're not going to get noticed at Violent. So I remember I went on a visit to St. Augustine Prep, and like my mom, my dad were really like, yo, if this is going to set our son up in his future, like, let's do it. But deep down, when I went there, like, something ain't feel right. Like, not St. Augustine Prep, but just like, I think it was just that loyalty aspect that God placed in me. And also, while I was there, I just kept thinking about like, man, if I come here, I kind of feel like a sellout. And the reason being is because when I went on that visit to St. Augustine, I was like, I didn't feel like I belonged because I always felt like an underdog. So when I went there, I felt like I was kind of skipping a step. And I remember thinking like in my mind, man, I'm tired of hearing people say, you can't make it out of Violent. You can't make it out of Violent. You can't make it out of Violent. And just something told me was like, yeah, this place seems cool. It's great. So many players come out of St. Augustine Prep. I'm going to get a good education, all those things. But something told me like, nah, you got to go back to VHS, and regardless if y'all going to lose the rest of the time you're there or not.
Which happened.
Yeah, which happened. Like, you got to be the one to prove to people like, you can make it out of Violent. So that was my motivation. A part of it was loyalty, and a part of it was just this drive to be like, nah, not only am I trying to prove myself right and like make it and go Division I, but like I want to show people and prove those talking down like you can't make it out of Violent wrong. And hopefully some way, somehow that can kind of like alter the thought and bring a little bit of hope into it. So at that young age, it was only by God and God alone to place that like mindset on me. So
yeah, because you were talking that talk back then.
Yeah.
Like making it out of the Violent was like really important to you.
Yeah.
And there was even times when I'd be like, I don't know if that's all that important, but
it's real though. It's true.
Real. It's real.
It's true.
No, I'm saying that as an elder. Because I'm thinking like, oh man, nephew got a chance. I mean, because I didn't know what kind of shine you would get from VHS because I knew you were good, but how many times somebody coming to see a 1-9,
exactly,
a 2-8 team? I was like,
facts.
Oh man, but you turned out to make the right.
And the truth is that, and I'm sure we're probably going there, but the truth is that it did affect me 100% wholeheartedly, entirely in getting recruited. Like I had schools coming out, schools were just because of like the Timber Creeks, because of the St. Augustines and all of those different schools, like because I didn't care whether we were losing or not, I played my tail off against those teams. Eventually those coaches were like, the coaches from different colleges that came and talked to the Cedar Creeks and the St. Augustines and the Timber Creeks and all, they were like, hey, is there anybody out here worth looking? And my name would come up because I played my tail off versus those teams, knowing that we may lose. They started coming out to visit. But the question was like, okay, you're at a high school that's like not doing well, and you're kind of like a big dude amongst lesser competition. Are you good because you're playing lesser competition? Or if you play at St. Augustine or somewhere like that and play against the really good high school teams, would you actually be successful? So, and the fact that I wasn't on the best workout plan and all of those things like came into factor. We're like, will he develop? Like, so that was the question that kind of tainted me from the bigger colleges, like the Boston College, the Rutgers, the Maryland, all that would come to visit me, but never really offered me until they were like, we want to see you at our camp. We want to see you go against some guys that are like legitimate and see if you're actually as good as you are on tape. So that actually tainted my recruiting process a bit and pretty much led me to Maine. So
you're pretty good at this. I don't know if you listen, but You just went right into what we were going to ask you anyway.
Nah, it's just the way it's flowing.
It was the recruiting process, really. Like, why Maine? Out of,
I love this. So, I want to say the craziest thing was I had my junior going into my senior year. It was this summer after my junior year. I was getting invited to all these different big camps like Boston College, Syracuse, Rutgers, Old Dominion. There was actually a crazy time. Me and my dad drove all the way to Old Dominion for a camp, and it was thunder and rain. They end up canceling the camp, drove all the way there for nothing, came back. Obviously, nothing happened there. But yeah, it was just a lot of other bigger schools. So I'm going to these camps, and I remember I had a weekend set up where it was Friday with Syracuse, Saturday Rutgers, Sunday Boston College, and I was going to all those 3 college camps, and I was starting to get a little buzz. I was doing well at Syracuse Friday evening, and we were doing these one-on-one reps, and like coaches started coming over a little bit because they had offered this DN who was like stocky, strong, like white guy, like I was like, oh, this guy's legit. Like let me really hold my own against him. So I went against him the first time, had a solid rep. And then coaches started coming over, and one of the coaches was like, the drill was like you had to point. The coach would point at the offensive lineman. Everybody would go, but you wouldn't know. The defensive line wouldn't know who was active. So he was like, oh, I'm stopping the drill. Demby, we're looking at you. Everyone's looking at you right now. And I was like, bro, this is a lot of pressure. Like, so I go, and I remember I'm like, oh, and I go, it was raining a little bit. I go punch this dude as hard as I possibly could. And I remember I just felt a pop in my shoulder, and it got stuck, and I dislocated my shoulder. And I remember after that, mostly all the big schools, they just kind of faded. They faded away. Like they really didn't hit me up. Syracuse stopped talking to me, Boston College, Rutgers, because I just couldn't make it to their camps. And then a wave of like Patriot League schools came in, and I had to get a certain SAT score. I went to their camps. They ended up offering me, but with contingency that I get the proper SAT score. Because being a lineman, they couldn't use a lower tier because they usually, no offense, they told me straight up they use it for like skill players that may be struggling, but a game-changing offensive player, whoever it is, they would rather get them, and they want their linemen to be smart. So I end up not getting the SAT score by like 20 points, so all those offers went away. I'm going into my senior year, nothing. And then eventually, randomly, Sacred Heart University in Connecticut reaches out to me. I go on a visit there. They offer me like partial scholarship because they just didn't have enough funds. And then randomly, a coach that recruited me from University of Maryland, he actually was from Violin. His name was Lee Hall. He gets a job at Morgan State, HBCU.
I remember this.
He gets a head coaching job there. Then he offers me. So I'm like, dang, he ended up offering me full scholarship. And I take a visit there, and I was like, yeah, I'm the only light-skinned dude on this campus. It was so much love, but I knew that if I was going to go there, I was going to be distracted. It was a lot of partying. There was a lot of HBCUs, they go crazy.
Yeah, it's a little different.
So I was like, I was like, yeah, this ain't for me. So prior to that weekend going to Morgan State, University of Maine comes out of nowhere. I had to get surgery after my senior season on my shoulder. And I'm sitting in bed after my senior season, and a random coach came in. Now I obviously know him. His name was Sean Demeray. He comes in randomly to Violin High School, says he's from Maine looking for me. I'm not even at school because I'm resting from my shoulder surgery. And then my head coach tells me like, hey, Maine was in. And I was like, bro, Maine? I didn't even know they had a football team. I was like, dang, man, I'm trying to go D1. I thought Maine was like D3. And come to find out, it actually was Division I AA, FCS. And I end up scheduling a visit there. And they end up offering me about 75%. They don't even offer me a full scholarship on my visit. And after that, I said, you know what? They told me they had 2 full scholarships, 2.5. And they ended up offering two linemen, pretty much 3 linemen, almost pretty much full scholarships. So I was like, the math ain't mathing up. And I really loved my visit there. So somehow, some way, I ended up leveraging the Morgan State offer. And I was like, yo, Morgan State offered me this much. I really want to come to Maine. Like, what y'all trying to do? Basically. And the O-line coach, he was spazzing on me. He was like, man, why would you go visit it? And then at the end of the conversation, I said, man, y'all told me y'all had this amount of money and y'all end up offering more. So I'm like, it ain't adding up. I feel like I got more. He was mad. He was just like, all right, we'll give you a full scholarship, but you got to tell me right now that you want to be a Black Bear. And I was like, man, I'm coming to Maine. And the reason why I chose Maine, because they was just felt like a brotherhood. And it also felt like it could be a home away from home, even though being 9 hours away from Jersey. And I know my mom was tripping out, but I was like, this is where I want to be. I can focus on football and books because Maine is in the middle of nowhere.
It really is in the middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere. And I pull up and my recruit host, a guy named Bruce, he actually got a chance with the Eagles, undrafted, but he was phenomenal. And I pull up, I'm thinking Maine is, if I'm being real, I'm thinking majority of the team's going to be white. And I pull up as this big Black dude. He like, yo, what's up? He pulled up like swag. I was like, wait, you could be swaggy and be in Maine? Like, all right. All right. So, and he showed me around. He showed me a good time. And I was like, man, everybody on this team has a story similar to me. Under-recruited, injured, overlooked. And I was like, this is the place for me. And long story short, that's how I ended up choosing Maine.
So we had classes together and went to school together. How much of that process I know Coach Russo took over in 2013?
Yeah, senior year. Our senior year,
yeah. Was he a big influence on the things that were going on with the college life? Did he kind of just sit back? Like, how much do high school head coaches actually do for their players?
So my first 3 years, I had Coach Hedgeman, freshman, sophomore, junior season.
Josh?
Yeah. Coach, Josh. Yeah, because he was at Charlotte.
Yeah, my man.
Man, I love that guy. And I had him, and then also who was on staff, who was a big part of my journey, was Coach Pooley, and I'll get into that. But he basically just spoke a lot of life. Like, he saw it in me, and he spoke a lot of life into me, and a lot of different, Coach Hardy, rest in peace. A lot of different coaches just were speaking life into me when I was younger, freshman, sophomore year, and showing me that, okay, I can do this. Oh, even though I'm young, I could play against the varsity players. And Hedgeman did everything he possibly could. I saw from my perspective of trying to lead players the right way and vouch for them to college coaches and all those things. I didn't get to see majority of the behind the scenes process with Hedgeman, but I know that he was vouching for a lot of players and those that he saw potential, and he made sure that he kept them on the right path. And when Russo came, when I got into my junior year, Coach Pooley, which you remember Coach Pooley, right? Yeah. Because he was like in the school as well. But Coach Pooley, man, he saw something in me. And before Russo even came, he was taking me through drills. He was taking me through SAT prep. Like, yo, he really was like a blessing from God himself. Like,
that's what's up.
He really helped me, and he would reach out to colleges. He would send my highlights to different camps like Rivals and Nike camp, and he got me into those things. So he saw the potential in me, and he saw that, like, man, my parents cared, and he was like, I'm gonna do everything I can to help you, because like he saw that even though we were losing and we weren't well, like we weren't doing the best, he was like, this kid cares. And I think that kind of convicted him to really help me. And honestly, if it wasn't for him, he pretty much set everything up for when Russo came. And I think a lot of what Russo did is what I can give him credit to is that, man, he will max out his resources for the team. Like, he would do everything he possibly can. And he knows a lot of different people as well. So he can really like connect those pieces, and he's really good at forming relationships with different coaches and stuff like that. But like before he came, Pooley was already laying the groundwork. But as you see, after I left, you see Pacheco, you see Naheem, Tyree, all these, you see all these different colleges coming more and more. And then when they began to win, you kind of started to see the fruit of what Russo was doing in that aspect. So, yeah.
That's actually a great question, Joey, because I was I was thinking the same thing about that part of the journey. And I didn't go to Mount High, so I don't know the dynamics behind. I mean, obviously, I was there for his journey, but that part I didn't really know a whole lot about.
And really, I only asked because, being a baseball player, our head coach at the time, he had his own agenda, and it wasn't kind of for the players. It was kind of for him. He liked to put the spotlight on himself. So I just wanted to know how different that actually was.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree with that. So,
no, facts.
And it is what it is.
I think it's a little bit different path.
Yes.
Football.
Yes, absolutely.
Honestly, the path is different, but it's not it's not any easier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you still need people in your corner to help facilitate whatever path you're going down. Yeah. And the fact that you remembered that, because I remember there was a ton of talk about your coaches even when you were going to high school. So, but the person that was supposed to be in your life was in your life that was supposed to help you.
Facts.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
100%.
Yeah.
Before we get to this next question for you, I do have a question. Maybe for the people out there, I should say. When you said that you were in high school, junior to senior year, I would say.
Yeah.
How many schools would say that that were looking at you until you got hurt?
Yeah.
Let me say that.
Man, I would probably say interest, and there was different types of interest when I say that. Probably maybe 20, maybe 25. A mixture of could be close to 30. Like there was some D2 colleges in there, Ivy League schools. And sometimes I would get a letter from like Harvard because I had over a 3.0.
Yeah.
I didn't have nothing crazy, but I had pretty solid grades for an athlete. And I would get a letter from them and maybe an email from a coach. But coaches that came to the school, probably ranging from 20, maybe 20, 25. But
so for the reason I asked you that question is because for the people out there that listen to us all the time, there's young fans, there's, all different ages that still play ball. Yeah. And you said that you got hurt when you dislocated your shoulder at a camp.
Yeah.
And pretty much, to see what you did and where you went, which we'll get into more of that in the pod, is like, don't give up on your dreams, pretty much. Even if you got hurt, you still made it to where you wanted to make it.
Yeah.
And,
right.
That's why I just wanted to bring that out.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's real.
To piggyback on that, though, I remember the Syracuse thing. And if we keep it 100, I remember, like, you were, like, hurt.
Yeah.
Like, mentally, like, this is my shot.
Yeah,
like,
I was done.
I remembered. I felt so bad. And I'm like, man, like, it ain't over. Yeah. Obviously, it wasn't over, but in your mind when you're a kid, which you're like 16 at that point, right? 16, 17?
Yeah.
Right, so you're thinking, Syracuse.
Yeah.
McNabb went to Syracuse.
Exactly.
So this is my shot. I know this is D1. Let me go ahead and show out. And then when it don't pan out that way, it could have went a totally different direction.
Exactly.
And it didn't.
Yeah.
And that's a testament to not only you, but the people around you that didn't let you stop.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. If it wasn't for them and it wasn't for the Coach Poolsy, it wasn't for the coaches I had, it wasn't for my parents, it wasn't for my pops still pushing me, and just the other family that I had around, like, would have never showed me that, like, okay, there's other colleges out there. Like, and my mind was always just set on what was big, what was greater. And not saying anybody was minimizing the dream, but that's it. That was the key. Like, it's not over. The last thing that you want to ever do is give up. So
exactly.
that was crucial for me. But yeah, I was down. I was like, that's exactly what I thought. I was like, man, this might be over. I'm gonna just finish high school and see what happens next. But thank goodness for the people that, God placed around me. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So for the people out there that listen, it's not over until it's over. If that makes sense.
Come on.
Yeah.
So, so you end up going to Maine, right?
Yeah.
So how were the Maine years?
Man, Maine was
Let's start at your freshman year.
Yeah, Maine was a journey, bro. Maine was a journey. I remember, like, I was so anxious to even get up there because I actually, before my freshman year started, you were allowed to go up there in the summer, like for 3 weeks. And then you get a week off and then go back up for camp. And I remember, like, my first 3 weeks up there, I got in trouble with the NCAA. I lied to you now. I got in trouble with the NCAA.
I don't remember this.
They were having, it was crazy. I was mind blown. I thought I was getting punked, bro. So they had a lunch, like a grill for the players. And I'm there with my host. That was my host, Bruce, who's now my brother, man. Thank God for him. He was a tremendous and huge part of my journey as well. But we go to this cookout for the Black Bears, but we're not students yet, legal, like we're not in the system yet. We're basically not supposed to be there.
You're just visiting.
We're just visiting.
Yeah.
So we're just chilling and there's food there. And I remember he brought like a burger and like a hot dog and like water back to the car. And we get in the car and next thing you know, this lady comes out of nowhere. And everybody disliked this lady a lot. And she worked for like the NCAA. She pulls up, bro. We about to pull off. Yo, she's like, rolled her window. She's like, is that food in the car? Were you giving him that burger? Like, no. And she's like, get out the car. I'm like, bro, I'm getting arrested. Like, what's going on? So she's like, what? You know, he's not supposed to have that. Because basically the whole point of it was that in essence at the time,
was an improper gift?
Was basically, yeah, extra benefits. Like, it was still technically benefits that could be like, convince me more, even though I was already committed, convinced me, like, it was just illegal.
A burger was going to push it over the top.
Exactly.
A burger, the dog, and the
Bro.
water.
Bro, and mind you, wasn't even...
Camp starts in 2 weeks. What are we talking about?
Yo, for real. I was like, bro, ain't no way. So I had to go to her office. It was like me and somebody else. No, me and my boy Bruce, because he distributed it and I received it. So we both got in trouble.
And look where we're at now with all these NIL dudes.
Yo, right?
A damn cheeseburger.
Bro, it was insane. But also this particular lady was very particular about things and not a lot of people really liked her.
Being real nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
So we had to, bro. So I had to do like 7 hours of community service.
That is
what?
Yeah,
for
bro.
a cheeseburger.
Yeah, bro. So it was so stupid. And I remember thinking like, dang, is this about to alter my career? Like, our coach is going to hate me. And I went to the coach's office and they were like, Steve, community service, you're good. Like, I thought I'd have to do running and all this stuff. So as soon as I got there, I was like, dang. But I remember going through training with the guys, going through the workouts, and like, man, I was surviving. They were doing a good job of like helping the incoming freshmen like get acclimated. And then we would do like skill work on our own in the summer with the older guys. And I remember like a couple of the linemen was like, man, you got some good feet. And I was like, all right, maybe they see something in me. I don't see. Like, people told me that, but when you get to that level, you're like, and you hear it from them, from your teammates, you're like, okay. So it built up a little confidence in me. And then got into my freshman camp. And man, every day I felt like I was doing so trash. And I had this coach from Rochester who's now assistant O-line coach with Syracuse. And he's from New York. And man, this guy will be on your, if I'm being real, he was just on my ass. He was every day. And I was like, bro, I just felt like I wasn't good. But the whole time he was basically just holding me to a higher standard. And every day I kept improving. And one day we had this defensive end on our team who got drafted into the 7th round. And people knew he had, some NFL notoriety. And I remember I go in there and nobody really can block him. And finally, like that rep, I actually blocked him. And everybody was going stupid, like, because they heard coach yelling at me all through camp. And they were like, okay. And then some eyes started getting on me from the staff. And they started giving me a little more opportunity. And I got a little more confidence. I started blocking more and more people I wasn't blocking before. And I remember we played Norfolk State. That was our first game. I ended up not playing that game. And then our left tackle got injured. And they ended up putting me in. And ever since then, I was at the left tackle spot the whole time, but I was struggling still. Like, I had talent I had promise, I had potential, and I kept getting better. But there was times where I was struggling. There was times where I gave up 2 sacks at Towson. Now, he was a 6-year senior and an NFL prospect. But there was times where I gave up sacks in games, and I was just like continuing going through it. Like, man, the experience of football at Maine, and I know this is going to sound crazy, is something I truly cherish, and honestly was an experience that sometimes I say was better than professional. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because there was no money involved. There was just, scholarship, but you had, like, y'all were all brothers in locked arms playing, and after the game, we win, you go out, you celebrate, you have fun, y'all party together, and man, it was a tremendous experience on that end. And educationally wise, like, we had plenty of support, we had plenty of resources.
Now, you mentioned earlier about the SAT thing.
Yeah.
You have to mention that you were an academic All-American at me.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
You over here like I'm barely getting by.
Nah, facts. But like the academic side, there was some semesters where I did struggle. Like I didn't pass a class for the first time, but I didn't get an F. I had got you were supposed to get a C+, and I ended up getting like a D. And yeah, I just remember those times, but I remember we had the resources, we had the counselors, and then we had other players that really was locking in and helping us, and guys that took classes before. They was like, yo, you take this teacher, take that teacher. But man, that experience, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah. So you pretty much at that point, you started the rest of the time there, right? You were
yeah. I played. I believe a total of 40 games, 40 starts.
Right.
I think. I want to say I only missed probably 1-2 games. I think the one I didn't play my freshman year, and then there was a game I didn't play against UConn because I got hurt my junior year in camp. I had did something to my PCL.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I missed a total of 2 or 3 games maybe. So yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
That's
pretty good.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
You ever, I don't know, we'll say most memorable game?
I would probably say my first start against Boston College. So I don't play against Norfolk State. I end up starting the next week after our left tackle gets hurt versus Bryant University. And it was wild because that same week I was having my first start against Bryant. My great grandma, may she rest in peace, she passed away that week. And I remember I flew home, came back, I flew into Rhode Island, and this is my first start. Dealing with this my first week, and we ended up losing that game, but I ended up playing decently, and they trusted me to play against Boston College. And I remember my first play, I walk up to the line of scrimmage. Bro, the defensive end is 6'8", bro, built like a freaking avatar, dog. Like, I said, bro, the whole D line was 6'5" plus, bro. And I'm looking at his arms, and then I'm looking at my arms, and I'm like, bro, how am I about to block this dude, bro? Like, I watched the tape. I saw his attributes. Like, I knew what's up. But now when I see him in person,
the tape don't tell you that.
I'm like, bro, this guy looks like a freaking superhuman, bro. And I remember, like, the first play, he comes off the ball, and, like, instead of, like, really rushing or, like, using power, like, he kind of was just reading, and I was just like, I hit him as hard as I could, and he didn't move. But I blocked him, and I was like, all right, hopefully he just don't start doing nothing crazy. And he didn't know he was reading. I'm like, all right, he must be reading for something. And then I remember as the game went on, they had like a crazy rotation. It was like 1 6'8" dude would come in, then they'll switch sides, another 6. And I remember different guys started rotating, and I just kept just fighting every play. And that whole game, I don't think I might give up a few pressures, but that whole game, I don't think I gave up a sack that game. And that just showed me like, dang, as long as you got some dog in you, like you don't have to look like Tarzan right away, but as long as you got some dog in you, man, you could play with these guys. So that moment for me probably changed the trajectory of my career. It gave me confidence like, oh, not only can I play in the CAA, but I could play against these guys. So
yeah, because that's legit D1 guys.
Yeah,
you're playing against,
and it was a school that didn't recruit me as well. So that was like a game where I was like, all right, I need to show them.
Yeah,
but then, I got to prove to them.
But when bro pulled up 6'8", looking like Superman, I was like,
ain't a whole lot you could do, you know. But you can't beat genetics.
In fact, and we got blown out that game. But that was probably the game that gave me the confidence to be like, I can do this. I could play at this level.
So I want to segue off of that because those years go by, and at some point you get maybe an inkling or somebody comes to you and tells you, hey, you might have a chance to go to the next level. When did that happen for you?
Probably it was after my junior year. Like my junior year was probably my most favorite year of all. My junior year was probably, it's going to sound crazy, people. That was that was my favorite year of college football. But that year I hold close and dear to me out of my whole career. And I remember after that junior year, that was when I made the most strides physically in an offseason going into my junior year. And I came off a shoulder injury, another shoulder surgery, my sophomore year. And I put it all on the line. I was grinding. Everything was working out. And I remember after that season, I did well. That was the first time I ever won 5 straight games in my life, ever. And we did it at that level. Damn. And the team was together.
It was terrible.
Huh?
Finally was terrible.
I know. I was telling dudes, yo, after we won like 3 straight, I was like, yo, fam, I feel like I just won the Super Bowl. Like, y'all don't understand. I went 2-8 my last 2 years, yo, and I was just getting clowned. They're like, bro, y'all won 4 games in 2 years, bro. Y'all trash. So I remember after that season, I started getting some calls from like agents, and they would just hit me. I'm like, is this real? Like, and I remember they would send me like these things like, oh, this is what your grade was. And it was like these random, like it'd be like your grade was 5.8. Like basically you're seen as like a preferred undrafted to late round pick. And I was like, bro, what? This is kind of crazy. And that was kind of when it became real. And also part of that was some agents that were connected to some coaches that I had that year. So one of the coaches, his name was Brian Picucci, and then obviously Coach Ambrosi as well. They had good relationships with the scouts that would come into, and since I was a freshman, I didn't know at the time, but they were telling those scouts that came in, yo, watch for 65, like he's playing early as a freshman, like, and I didn't know. So just from those relationships they had from friends that were agents, they would contact me, and then kind of like it was just a snowball effect from there. Different agents were reaching out, and I was like, oh, this is real. Like, I actually have a shot.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that part of the journey, and I remember it wrapping up with college, and then there were some things that started to move as far as postseason bowls, as far as you played in the NFL PA Bowl.
Yeah.
Right? That was before the draft. And then from there, you went to the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
I think you were a late addition to the Senior Bowl.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember, like, I don't know, might have been like on a Tuesday, we're like, Jamil's going to Mobile. I'm like, what the heck is going to Mobile for?
Yeah.
What the hell's in Mobile?
Yeah.
It was like, I don't know. It's got something to do with candy. And this is, this is your mom and telling me.
Yeah.
Something to do with candy. I'm like, what? It was like, oh, it's the Reese's Bowl. I was like, oh, it's the Senior Bowl.
That
you should have led with the Senior
Fact.
Bowl, not the Reese's Bowl.
Yo, that is the exact way that my mom would describe that.
I know. It's like, what? He's playing for candy? But anyway. Yeah. So what was the Senior Bowl like? Because you're transitioning from Maine. The NFLPA Bowl was a little smaller.
Yeah.
Now the Senior Bowl, there's eyes.
It's a different level.
At the Senior Bowl.
Yeah. So I realized, like, once I got the invite and how hyped my agents were, and then how hyped my dad. So I found out right after the NFLPA game. I was having a good week that week, and after the NFLPA game, my dad, like, pulled up on me like, yo, bro, he started like punching me and throwing me. He was like, yo, you going to the Senior Bowl. Like, it's really time to show out. Like, I'm like, damn, my agents, they were hype. They're like, yo, we got to get on a flight tonight. And so I'm like, oh, this is big. And then looking back on it, I obviously realized that it was like, yo, if you're at the Senior Bowl, that means you are a stamped NFL prospect. Like, now you have the opportunity, all the eyes are on you. Like, and I remember pulling up and I get there and I start seeing different players that I've seen on Twitter. I've seen in the biggest games of college football. And I start seeing them and I'm like, bruh.
So before you get to that, you played.
That's crazy.
You blocked for some pretty important guys at the Senior Bowl.
No, facts. 100%.
Tell us who those guys were.
Yeah, so I'm sitting there and I get in the huddle and I'm looking around. I'm like, to my point I was saying, I was like, I'm looking around. I'm like, dang, I don't know if I belong here. And I remember getting in the huddle first. I want to say it was the second day because this person came late. And next thing you know, out of nowhere, Baker Mayfield's in the huddle. And I'm like, bro, what the heck?
In the huddle with you?
Yeah, I'm like, Baker Mayfield's on my team? Bro. And then I went to turn to one of the guys. I was like, yo, bro, that's Baker Mayfield. And he like, yeah, bro. So, and I'm like, yeah, bro, I got to lock in, bro. I'm here now. I'm like, I got to lock in. I'm here, bro. I'm here. So I had him on my team. Think about how loaded it is. I got to think that I might be cursed, and I'm going to tell you why. In a sense, when it comes to winning and losing games. I had Baker Mayfield as my quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen was my quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had, what's his name? I believe Mike White.
Yeah, Mike Gesicki on that team.
I had Mike Gesicki on that team. I had Mike White as my quarterback, who ended up popping off a little bit with Miami. I had so many dogs on that team. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, bro, this is insane. We end up losing that game because on the other team, Kyle Lauletta, who was in the CAA, ended up popping off. Like, he was a quarterback. I mean, some of y'all probably didn't heard it. He ended up popping off.
I know who he is.
Yeah. So he ends up going crazy. But I'm trying to figure out who other than my homies that was there.
I'm pretty sure former Eagle Brent Toth was on one of those.
Yeah, that was my teammate. And what's crazy is the fact that he's having the career he's having now, because this dude never did a pass. He never did a pass set because he was at Army. So he never did a pass set. He was like, all
they did was run ball.
Yeah. All they did was run. And he showed up and it was like, and now seeing him in his career, like, it was wild. So me and him were going through it that week because we were new to a lot of the techniques that they were teaching, like jump setting, closing the space, because you're going against the fastest of guys. And I remember trying to jump set these guys that are coming off the edge running 4.4s, 4.5s, like so much speed. And it was just something to adapt for sure. But I remember throughout the week, every practice was challenging. Every practice I was losing a rep, but I was so hungry. I'm like, I got to learn from this. And we had some pretty solid coaches. And I remember by the time the game came, everything just came together. It was like, by the Lord and him alone. And like, that was probably one of the best games of my life. For real. The Senior Bowl was probably one of the best games of my life. Like,
I had to agree. You were amazing that week.
Yeah,
I got to give it to you.
That was probably the best. Like, because through that week, I did not think that I was going to play the way I played. And I just kept learning.
Even the practices, because there's video, and when I post this stuff, I'm going to post a video of the practices and of some of the games.
Dang,
too.
That's love.
Yeah, and like, I just saw you. I was like, I couldn't believe it was you. Yeah, I was like, what happened to this dude?
Yo, I'm telling you.
I was like, this dude at Texas A&M, and you just pancaked this guy. I was like, okay.
Nah, it was.
That might be on something here.
Yeah, nah, it was insane. And the blessing of it all was that I got to play left tackle, because every single scout was like, oh, you're going to be a center guard, and you might be an emergency tackle or something, because of the fact that I wasn't 6'6" and they also at one point in time mixed my arm length with my DB's arm length at our junior day. So scouts were thinking I had like 20-something inch arms. Yeah, so they were like, oh, he has short arms, and they ended up fixing the mistake, but still, they thought because of certain attributes I had, like, they were like, oh, yeah, he's not going to be a tackle. And he played left tackle in the CAA. He ain't played left tackle in, the SEC. Like, so, yeah, it was a blessing because that's where I was most comfortable, was left tackle.
So from then, fast forward, now you get the combine invite.
Yeah.
From that.
Yeah.
So in a matter of weeks, your life flipped upside
Changed.
down.
It was wild.
Like crazy.
No, it was insane.
So I remember thinking like, oh yeah, he might get an invite to the combine. Talk about the combine a little bit and what that was like.
The combine was insane. When I got the invite, I was so hyped. I was so lit. And then as we got closer to it and heard the stories of what the combine is like behind the scenes, I was like, bruh, you had to wake up. Every day you're waking up at like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, maybe even earlier. You're taking a piss test, and then you got to go do MRIs, and you got to do all this stuff. Then you're up late at night talking to all these different coaches. They're grilling you. Then there's a day where you're going to private meetings that you get invited to. So you get a card, and it says, you're going to meet at this room at this time, meeting with the Bucks. You're meeting with the Chiefs. I got to shake Andy Reid's hand, and you get to meet with all these people I seen on Hard Knocks, owners, and you're sitting in a room with all of them, just you. And you're tired, you're exhausted, you still have the pressure of trying to perform later on the week. You're getting MRIs at a hospital, then coming back and trying to be in your right mindset to sit in front of a bunch of a GM, a coach, a owner, and all these different people while they're grilling you and showing trying to have you call out your favorite play and write up your favorite play and draw the defense and call out blitz, all this stuff.
On 4 hours of sleep.
Yes, on 4 hours of sleep. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, bro, this is nuts. This is wild. But I was going through that process of being in front of coaches and interviews and all those things that once I got to the combine, it was like all in the Lord's timing. I was basically so like, I was naturally PR'd. Like, I had a PR. I didn't even have a PR person, but I went through so many interviews and stuff. Like, it wasn't that I was faking who I am. I just knew how to articulate myself. And none of these people knew me. They just heard about me. They're like, oh, this guy from Maine is doing well at the senior. They just started to see my uprising a little bit from a on-field perspective, and they got to know me. And they were like, oh, okay, this guy's just not like, oh, this guy doesn't have 20-inch arms. Like, he actually looks like a lineman. Like, okay. And eventually, all that stuff went good. I got to get favor with some teams in that way. But then we got to the physical part. I was exhausted. I was overthinking. And I remember we got to our 40. And I got to the 40. And after you're done your 40, you don't see your 40 time anywhere. So all you see, you get a text from your coach. And I remember I said, yeah, bro, I'm do my technique. I'm going to lock in. I'm going to just lock it on my technique. And I got in and I was like trying so hard to go do my technique and all these different things. And I remember I was like, oh, yo, I felt good. I get to my phone, bro, and my trainer texts me, yo, he was like 5'8" something. He was like, pump your arms, damn it. I was like, I looked at my phone. I didn't even freak out. I said, dang, bro, I just lost so much bread, bro. And I
will not be posting the video of the 40.
Yeah.
That 40 was rough.
Yo, it was so rough because I was just like, so I remember, but what was crazy, the next time, once I put my phone down, I was like, all right, bro, I'm going to just run. And the second time I ran, and I remember I ended up going from like a 5'8" to like a 5'5" or a 5'4" something. And, but the average went down to like a little over a 5'5", closer to a 5'6". But I remember when he texted me that, I said, damn, bro, I should have just ran like that in the first place. I was so mad, but it was like I couldn't go back. Yeah. And I still had a bunch to do. So I just locked in for the drills, and I did everything else I possibly could. And yeah, and after that, I just let the chips fall where they may. And I remember talking to my coach. He was talking to a couple of scouts, and he was like, yo, did the combine actually hurt Demby? Like, and he was like, no, actually, in a way, like, it helped him because everybody got to see how smart he was in his interviews and see how he can articulate plays and all these different things. And because a lot of coaches are like, oh, you ran a 5'5", you ran a 5'5", 6 or whatever it was. And I'll go to these visits and they'll be like, you don't look like that on film. Like, you move way faster than that. Your feet are way better than that. Like, so they say, not that they don't care about it, because those things can bring alarms to certain players who don't work hard, like, or are lazy. But he's like, I see the way you play on film, and I know what people say about you. You're a hard worker, and they get to know who you are in the film room and who you are as a teammate and all those things. So they were like, nah, in a way it actually helped them. So that was the positive, because again, I was in another moment where I was like, dang, I might not get drafted because of that. But yeah, so that was the combine experience. It was a roller coaster.
Thank you for listening to part 1 of the Reggie and Jerome special Jamil Demby podcast. We will be back in a few days with part 2. We cover so much more ground in that episode. Everything from play calling, Super Bowls, XFL, to life. Again, thanks for listening, and we out.